Ew, what's going on, you guys? So I said before, this is the second review that you will be seeing. I don't know when you'll see another review. That's not to say I won't have another review soon. It's just like, life. So that's all I can say about that. But today we're reviewing the DC multiverse Mcfarlane Mr. Freeze. On the side you got Mr. Freeze there. Say one there, and then a very nice artwork for Mr. Freeze. These boxes are just too big to sometimes get in frame, at least for where I record and everything. So, but first we'll get out of the way with his basic accessories. So he comes with a card stand, or not a card stand, a opposing stand, and then you got a little collecting card here that has a bio on the back that reads "Real name Victor Freeze." The corporation funding Victor's work shut down his experiments and in the process caused a horrible accident. The coolants did irreparable harm and made it impossible for him to survive above freezing temperatures. To counteract this, Victor constructed a special ultra-durable suit to keep his body alive and at the right temperature. He embraced his new persona and became Mr. Freeze. So here he is. Now, I am aware that this is a repaint, a very awesome repaint of a couple different Mr. Freeze action figures they did a while back, but this is the one they have out now. And honestly, I love this look. It kind of reminds me of the Lego Batman Mr. Freeze, and that's very nostalgic for me. So, we'll get his one accessory. I guess he has two accessories, but we'll get into that, which is his little freeze ray here or whatever. Nicely sculpted. You got a little bit of blue here. Very nice sculpted work. Unfortunately, this little effect piece does not come out, as far as I know. Yeah, and it's attached to this, and so I want to be careful there. So, of course, if anything happens, I could just super glue it back on, but rather not have anything happen to it. So, but you got like a little freeze effect here, so there's that. His other accessory, if you want to call it that, is kind of interesting. So let me get his arms down here. So you cannot move the dome piece here with the head. That does not how it works. You actually have to remove that. So, and I guess that could be cool in the sense of like, first of all, that is realistic. It's not the dome that's moving with his head. It's his head just moving. But that could be really awesome if you're doing like, photo photography and you have like the right settings and stuff like that. You could have him holding it, you could probably finagle it somehow. But, and as you see, there's like a little slot piece here. So, but right behind this piece right here, which I assume is like his, I don't know, the little microphone piece, there is a slot that it just sits in. But yeah, so in order to move his head, you have to take it off. But without it on, we'll take a little better look at his head. So it looks like Mr. Freeze, he's got the cold, like frostbite kind of skin tone here. You got the classic red goggles. This is the Mr. Freeze I really enjoy. And we'll take a look at the rest of his suit here. Very nicely sculpted all around. I mean, you got all these different gadgets. Who knows what they do? Very nicely painted. Like I said, this reminds me of like a lot more. It's a little more modern. And it kind of reminds me of the Lego Batman style a little bit. You got the hoses here with the rivets sculpted in. The blue armor pads. Purple boots here. Yeah, let me take a look at the back. You got his little tank here. It looks like it's seen some battle damage, probably from fighting, well, you know who. And then that. And on a side note, Mr. Freeze has always been one of my favorite Batman characters or Batman villains, because he just is actually like very, like sympathetic and like has a reason to kind of be a villain. you know, so there you go. And then oh yeah, even his hands have have sculpted parts to it. So yeah, it's just really nice to have another Batman villain, and also just another villain for the DC shelf. I only have so many. You'll see a couple of the other ones I have, which you've seen reviews for, but you know, I don't have as many villains as I wish I did for the DC shelf. So, but yeah, no, Mr. Freeze has always been one of my favorite Batman villains, and I'm glad I finally have him here. So, and I am aware of some of the new reveals for DC on the side note. I usually wait for like the end of the review to do this, but I do know that there is that like Justice League video game wave that's coming out. I might get the Flash for that because although I have a Flash figure, you know, there's just that part of me that's like, man, I still want like a classic looking Flash, and the Flash figure looks all right. I know that people have opinions on the other action figures of that wave. I know it's from like a video game. I don't know anything else beyond that, so I don't really have a whole lot of attachment. But so yeah, here he is. Yeah, I think I've showed you majority of it, but so yeah, I guess we'll get into articulation. So his head can move up that far, can move down that far, look side to side, and he's got tilt. His shoulders, his arms can go out that far. Got the little dumbbell joint in there. The full 360. Has a, I think it has a bicep swivel. Yeah, it does. Okay. The shoulder piece here is actually attached to the bicep. He's got a double jointed elbow and a wrist hinge and wrist swivel and a hinge. You got a diaphragm joint, an upper diaphragm joint, and a lower diaphragm joint that combined allows him to go about that far forward, that far back. Of course, they tilt and swivel independently. Then his leg kicks up that far, kicks back that far. I'm sorry if I'm getting too close to the camera with some of this. There's no upper thigh swivel. Yeah, I did not realize how much detail is on the legs. I mean, you can even see like hoses and stuff that are on the legs here. Double jointed knees. Oh, and he has... Oh, wow. He's got boot swivel. I didn't even realize that. That's awesome. Cool. His ankles allow him to go that far back, that far forward. He's got ankle pivot. And they can swivel, I think, independently. And then he's got toe articulation. So yeah. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this character here. Now let's get him posed up next to some other characters here in just a second. I'm going to get his little dome piece on. I will say, I hope that maybe we get. There was a storyline where Nora was actually released, and her and Freeze continued to be villains. It would be kind of neat to get Mrs. Freeze. So, but if not, I'm kind of okay with it too, because she's not like that important of a villain for me. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's see. Am I going to be able to stand you up? You could stand earlier. There we go. Okay, so that's about as good as it's going to get. So we'll do some Batman villains here first. So first of all, We've got another classic Batman villain here. Form of the Riddler. He's not going to stand, so that's why I'm holding him. And then I will say at least a more modern Batman villain, not super modern, but more modern Batman villain. We have Hush. And then I'll throw him in next to a random superhero before we get to the one that he is most affiliated with. We'll throw him next to Superman here. So there's that. And then we'll put him next to the current Boy Wonder, which is Damian Wayne, Robin. And then we'll put him next to the guy that will obviously typically stop him. Batman. So, oh yeah, probably should have it better angled. I do apologize for that. I don't know. Before I started this recording, I was messing with my stand, and I think the angle got a little messed up. Plus, the previous review I did was for a 6-inch action figure, and these are 7 inches, so that probably does not help. So yeah. Outside of that, oh, and I do have another comic to show off to you. So I did say there was another comic, and I figured I'd save the DC one for a DC review. And I have the Superman Action Comics Volume 3, War World Revolution. So, by Phil Kennedy Johnson, Ricardo Federici, David Lapham, and Lee Laridge. So I think that's how you pronounce that last name. I do apologize if that's not. But yeah, so hopefully enjoy this review. I'll get them posed up before we close out here. I will say the only thing that bothers me about the figure is that the freeze like effect doesn't come off. But you can get him in a two-handed pose. With it. You know, I had them all standing up last night, so yeah. But glad to just have another villain. Glad to, of course, add another DC character to my shelf. Hopefully you will see more sooner rather than later. I can't promise how soon or when, but hopefully just sooner rather than later. So yeah, I do know about some characters and action figures coming out for different lines, and I know that ones that I want to get, and it's certainly going to be interesting to find those. Hopefully I can find those. So one DC character that I'm really hoping to find is, well, one of the Hal Jordans that's out, but also the Simone Biaz Green Lantern Collector Edition. Really hope to get him especially. So, but anyways, hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.